Thursday. Police say there was no sign of forced entry. The estate of Matthew Burrows has filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city of Niles, the police chief, and officers for their actions in the Niles resident's death. Burrows was shot 8 times in the parking lot of his apartment. The suit claims the police department used and tolerated the use of excessive force that led to the death. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Need a furnace checkup? Call Mazza Heating and Cooling in Girard, your factory authorized Bryant dealer.
Look for rain showers to continue to mix with snow showers this afternoon. Little to no snow accumulation expected. Highs falling through the 30s. Tonight, chance of a snow shower, little snow accumulation expected, lows in the upper 20s. With your Storm Team 27 forecast, I'm meteorologist Paul Wetzel.
Message and data rates may apply.
Do you want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses right here in Youngstown? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll be introduced to our 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Youngstown area who want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Youngstown is a perfect market for my system, and next week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where we'll share how to get started making money flipping houses and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and you'll also reserve a free copy of Than's Money for Deals guide. Just text your zip code to 82,000.
Introducing Long John Silver's $10 C-Shares. Pick up our 6-piece fish, 9-piece chicken, 15-piece shrimp, or 6 crab cakes, each for just $10. Long John Silver's. Fish, yeah. Pricing and participation may vary. Does not include cod or grilled. Tax extra.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose weight guaranteed. Only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. For location near you, go to markpatrickseminars.com. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick Seminars. No matter how many times you've tried to quit, this hypnosis is guaranteed to destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Join the over 500,000 others who've attended. That's right. Weight loss seminar Monday, January 20th at the Quality Inn and Suites North Hotel, Youngstown. Time is 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Registration begins at 5 p.m. Stop Smoking seminar starts at 8 p.m. Registration 7:30 p.m.
Hey there, Dan Rivers. You know, recently selling your home has become a complicated process. Tune in and listen to the agent who guarantees to sell your home or she'll buy it. Kelly Warren, Sunday mornings, 8 a.m., 570 WKBN.
You want that new or used vehicle, but your credit score isn't exactly what you need? You work hard, you've always paid your bills. Who can you turn to? Hi, this is Tino Merlo from Toyota of Warren. Stop in and see me or my staff. Toyota of Warren's here to help, and we can get you financed.
All right, welcome everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I am Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer, and this is your Saturday show where we get to talk about things that are happening in tech. Lots of stuff going on. I haven't been here in a couple weeks, so I missed all of you guys, missed being able to do this. Got a bunch of stuff to talk about. This time of year, we look at the internal workings of Youngstown Computer, and we work on growth plans and figuring out what we want to do in the upcoming year. So all of this stuff gets, nostalgic and dreamy, and I get into this mode where, I feel like I can conquer anything. And so last year around this time, we started thinking about the hardware market and diving into it. And I'll give you some history, because a lot of times I don't share backstory on what goes into a lot of our philosophies, and a lot more of what we do makes sense if you figure out where we've come from and is a fair predictor of what we're going to do next. So when I first started in the computer industry, my first computer job was a little computer outfit in Girard, Community Computing. And the owner was Jason Sullivan. He was a sort of like a prodigy computer guy. I mean, he was super young, got into business super young, and I was enamored with really intelligent people. So he got to be sort of somebody who was younger than me, got to be my mentor early on, because I was fascinated with how the brains work of people who are super intelligent. And so during that, I don't even remember how long I worked there, but I was by no means a competent computer anything at that point. I was an observer. I was learning, and I had two really good people. I had the super smart Jason Sullivan, and I had a really savvy coworker in Bob Graham. And I really value how, those relationships, because that's what sort of got me started into the thinking and dreaming and inventing. Because it wasn't your traditional go to work and grind out some, production hours. It was when we sat around and doing work, we were dreaming about what we could add to the future of technology and computers. So one of the first things that we did, and this was, if any of you out there are about the same age as me, when Pentium 200 megahertz, not gigahertz, 200 megahertz processors came out, we got in the business of selling computers. And there were computer tech shows like expos that we could go around and buy components from. Because there wasn't this massive distribution of parts like there is today. Like right now, you can get something shipped from anywhere, anytime for no money whatsoever. But then, in order to get like computer hardware in any volume, you had to buy a lot of stuff. And so small computer manufacturers or small computer service providers really struggled because they didn't deal in volume that could allow them to buy the components to put this stuff together. We'd be at an extreme disadvantage against our competitors. But we started going around to these computer shows, buying components up and assembling our own computers. Because at the moment, there wasn't a whole lot of national manufacturers. Computers were still a couple grand in order to get in. So we figured there was enough margin in hardware that we could start building our own computers. And so we put together, I would say at any given time, we had 10 or 12 brand new computers, ready to go. And when we were assembling them and loading them, I remember just general conversations about, every one of these computers has the exact same components, exact same capabilities, exact same software. What if we took those capabilities and put them somewhere out in the internet? Now, mind you, this was dial-up days. This wasn't, this was like, the modems that made a lot of noise and connected you to the internet that way. But we were thinking about putting a portion of these computer systems out there on the internet so people wouldn't have to buy in such redundancy, the same software, the same capabilities, where everybody was duplicating these services that could be very easily duplicated with software that was just sitting out in the cloud. You go out to the cloud and you have all of your stuff, and that way you don't have to keep all of your stuff on low. And I'm telling you, this was 1997. We were having cloud conversations at the very beginning of this, and we experimented, and we really came up short on what we were able to produce and make commercially. So, but it was amazing that when you put three minds in the same room that have interest in this stuff, what kind of ideas that can culminate out of that. That was like the golden era of technology, because there was so much more room to invent, so much more stuff to come. It's hard when you fast forward to today, where it seems like all of the technology is so sophisticated. To make an entry to invent something, you got to be pretty brilliant. You got to be pretty capable. You got to have tons of money to compete against the people who are innovating in today's space. And so fast forward to when I started Youngstown Computer, the way that the marketplace flowed was that you had companies like Gateway and Dell that basically made what we were doing, a couple $1,000s for a computer, and they kept shrinking that amount. So it was $1,000 to $1,500 and $1,500 to $1,000, and they kept going and kept shrinking and squeezing the margin out of the computer system building. And for a while, they still kept the quality. Gateway and Dell had amazing products for a really, really long time, and they were able to do it at volume. And so I could sell a Gateway or a Dell cheaper at a better quality than I could build it myself. So it made absolutely no sense for anybody to manufacture computers. And so, again, they made a transition where they started to go from industry standard, which was, you had your separate video card and you had your separate sound card and you had your separate everything. And they started combining hardware so that more of it was integrated onto the motherboard. Early on, that was a little bit of a problem because you didn't get as high quality when you started integrating. So then there became, computer low cost, but really low quality. So it made its first entry that someone, if they built a little bit more quality of a computer, then they can dominate, and that's what Dell did. Dell kicked Gateway out of the industry because they sold stuff at a premium, but they kept the quality pretty decent. And we sold Dells for 12 years. If you go out and follow us up in the field, you'll see everything from Vostros all the way down to Inspirons, is because I knew every year when I looked at our hardware, I couldn't outperform what you could get on the marketplace, and I wasn't going to do something, have it be lower quality, and have to be more expensive. That didn't make any sense. But then Dell started doing the same thing, where they started cheapening the power supplies and the motherboards and the enclosures, and they started degrading, where it got less and less industry standard, more integrated. And again, I could hardly sell what they were putting out. And so that's when we said, you know what, if the stuff on the marketplace is terrible, and I wouldn't buy it for myself, let alone the people that depended on me, let's see if there's any room in the marketplace to be able to do this ourselves. And when I did that, I found that I could build a better machine, no doubt, but it was going to cost more because I had to have people locally putting it together. I had to have us service it. I had to cover the liability. So it was going to be more money. So I figured, you know, what the hell? I mean, if I can put something on the marketplace that costs a little bit more, but it was assembled here in Youngstown, Ohio, and I could pay local people to do it, maybe the public would say, okay, well, understandably, Joe's honest about it. He said that it was going to cost a little bit more, but he was going to do his best to keep the money here locally. If I'm in the mood, or I'm in the position to be able to spend a little bit more for the hardware, I'm interested in that because Joe, this is what you get when you buy a computer. You know that the money is going here locally, right? And that's okay. That's feel good stuff. But also, it comes with what I won't sell something, it breaks, and then you're on the hook, right? We're kind of a shared thing here. So I have a commercial service. I have a commercial services wing of my company. When I sell a piece of hardware, if that thing goes bad, right, I don't say, hey, it's only warranted for 30 days. It's your problem, right? Well, there's no incentive to be able to buy from me. So if you buy from me, I'm going to make sure that I build servicing that piece of equipment into the cost of what I sell, and then I take care of it. So there's one guy, I won't name him by name, but he bought a monitor from me, and I sell a lot of equipment. And I make sure that I buy the stuff that might cost a little bit more, but it has the lowest failure rate. I look up the percentage of failure rate, like an actuary table for equipment. I don't want stuff to come back. So when it does, and you know that you paid more for me, I'm not really going to look at the warranty, right? I'm not interested in that. When I look at it and I'm reasonable about it, I mean, this guy said, hey, this monitor, I bought it about a year ago, and it went bad, right? I took another monitor over there, and I set it up, plugged it in, and I left, right? If there's any warranty left in it, I'll figure it out. If there isn't one, that's okay too. But when people buy from me, it was just a different philosophy. I don't want to commoditize my industry. I don't want it to be the lowest common denominator. I don't want it to cost the least amount of pennies that it possibly can, and then nobody can afford to support anybody. I have a different philosophy. I get into a marketplace, whether it's retail or mail order or whatever, and I see where everybody's at, and I place my pricing a hair ahead of everybody else, a hair higher than everybody else. And I figure out how to give more value for that hair that I'm higher than everybody else. I'm not going to fight for the bottom part of the market. I want to be able to take care of people, and I want to have enough money to pay my people to be able to support well. So that's the backstory on computers, where we couldn't sell Dells. I didn't want to sell Dells anymore. And we're at a sticking point where I knew if I did it myself, it was going to cost more. So then I just had to come to you as the audience and say, hey, it's going to cost more if you're interested. And I sold 142 computers last year. 142 computers, and my price point is about $1,000 a computer. So that is $142,000 that would have gone to a retailer out of state that stayed right here. And I got to spend the money here in Youngstown with either the people who put the components together, the local delivery people. It got to stay right as much here as you could possibly get, and even more so in the future. So that's sort of the computer thing. And what's interesting about the computer market is that, you know, we're incrementally increasing the amount of money that all of us spend yearly on technology. You know, you spend $1,000 on a cell phone every 2 years. So your yearly cost of a phone is $500 a year. You break that up by months, and you're paying about, $50 a month for, $40 some for a phone per month, right? And we use our phones everywhere. So if you took it by the cost of day, right, I would gladly put that up there. But what we require in our technology is also elevating with the amount of money we're willing to part. I think it was $1.6 trillion that the people of the United States spent in technology expenses last year. And so whereas we're willing to spend money when it comes to things that are useful, right, it's our job as the people who produce this to make them more useful. Because a lot of you on computers out there that use it to get on the internet, that you technically don't need a computer to be able to do that. You know what you need? You need like a Chromebook. You need to spend the absolute lowest cost that you can come across to do what you're doing. A lot of you don't know what it is you're doing, so you end up overbuying in hardware, and then your computer expenses are way high, and the value that you get from that expense is really low. And so where we come out is we engage with our customers, we teach our customers. There are people in this audience right here that didn't know anything before we came on the scene, and we helped build their experiences and intelligence when it comes to computers. And now they are where they are because of the start that they got with programming like this, where you got to hear. So that's why we do what it is that we do. We sell a computer that's assembled here, and then we're building an audience and a market of people who want to become better and learn. So all of you buy computers from me, I want you to do great things with them. I want to be able to pass back to you some business when you use that computer as a tool to open a contracting company. And so when, the attitude, especially in this area, I don't know why this is my only complaint for the day, that for some reason that when we spend our money, we try to begrudge someone else from making a living. We try to get somebody else's price to be the absolute lowest possible. And none of us would want to be treated like that. We want to let professionals be able to make what they're worth. And because when you turn around, then that means that somebody else is going to let you make what you're worth. And I think when you get in that cycle where you allow people who are good to make as much money as they need to, that's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But when you commoditize things, you're basically trying to extract all of the value out of things. And what you end up in the deal is that a product that nobody wants to touch because you've squashed it into its lowest common denominator. And I don't think anybody would enter a marketplace and want, retail gets like 4% on what they sell. Think about how much stuff you would have to sell and how little you could take care of your customers at 4% of a margin. So we have a margin on our products that can pay people more. We can build our marketplace through all of you out there who then take our computers and go make money with them. Learn how to do podcasting, do editing, do design work, do graphics work, make mods for gaming, design programs. Right? There's a million things that you can do once you learn how to unlock the potential in these computers, and that's where we want to fill in. We want to reciprocate back to you and tell you how to use that thing to start churning and opening up the cash register and ringing it. All right, 330-729-9977. You can text me at 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be right back.
News affects your life.
Is imitating life.
American life.
The sequence of events.
The latest events.
And experiences.
Personal experience.
That make up.
Doesn't his life matter?
Life.
In this life.
News, talk, sports.
Life in the old ball yard.
On 570 WKBN. From iHeartRadio, #1 for podcasts. Monster, DC Sniper.
I don't think America has ever gone back to the way that it was before the DC Sniper.
A man has been killed in front of me.
The gunman, most likely a skilled marksman, fired 6 times in the course of 16 hours.
He was a psychopathic, cold-blooded killer.
Hey people, are you paying attention? Are you looking for a truck to use like a truck? Then why would you spend big money on a new one and beat the out of it? This is Joe Fire from Fireball Motors. Be smarter and spend less money on a better truck. We specialize in non-rusty West Coast trucks from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that are under 10 grand. We are located on Route 422, just an 1/8 mile from the PA border, or online at fireballtrucks.com. And remember, Fireball means 4-wheel drive.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The expensive Little Blue pill is now generic, which means the prescription medication to treat ED is super affordable at 4hims.com. And now get your first online doctor's visit free at 4hims.com. That's right. 0 copay, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. That's really good news. To start your free online visit, go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/joy.
Abisher's Jewelry presents Bridal Spectacular 2020, Sunday, January 5th at Mr. Anthony's. Doors open at noon, fashion show at 2:30, featuring Matina's Bridal of Beechwood and the Rondinelli Tuxedo Company on the Studio Oxygen Yoga stage. Hair and makeup by Magnolias on the green. Brides, thousands of dollars in prizes are up for grabs from all show exhibitors. You don't want to miss it. Complete event details can be found at bridalspectacularonline.com. Some restrictions apply. Abisher's Jewelry presents Bridal Spectacular 2020, January 5th at Mr. Anthony's, proudly promoted by iHeartMedia and 33 WITV.
Discount tickets on sale now at Abisher's Jewelry and all Rondinelli Tuxedo Company locations. Sponsored by Brian Price Wedding Entertainment, Fab Limousine, I Do So You Don't Have To, Boardman Printing, Holiday Inn Boardman, The Cake Boutique, TR Tents and Events, Bed Bath & Beyond. Bridal Spectacular 2020, January 5th.
Americans are always on the move. We're in the car, we're at the office, we're working around the house. So how do you connect with all those moving targets? Easy, with radio. Radio reaches 93% of Americans every week. More than Google, Facebook, even television. Because hey, who has time to sit and watch TV? So when you want to connect with all those constantly moving adults, teens, and millennials, get to iHeartMedia.com and put AM/FM radio to work for your company.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show, and I was just talking about the history of where we decided to make computers our thing. Second thing we're going to do is we have an employee, a team member who is very interested in the gaming world, and suggested that if we have the infrastructure to be able to build computers, why not gaming machines? So we've done this a couple times before. We've put out gaming hardware, but this guy had an idea of putting out something to rival console systems. So, you know, we're going to be involved in hosting tournaments and sponsoring tournaments. Might as well get involved here. So what we started to do was buying some console-grade equipment, gaming hardware. And we have some prototypes that we're putting together, building, and seeing how they stack up against some of the more traditional console systems. And I'm super interested to see how this kind of comes together. But here's basically where I see this going. We can become a better computer assembler and manufacturer if we have some support people who all they do is the computer side of things. Most of the people who are doing the computer side of things, they do field stuff as well. So they're 8 hours a day. They're in the field servicing commercial customers and whatnot. So as maxed out as our field staff is, we don't really need additional stuff. We have no problem selling the equipment, but it's the people to be able to, you get somebody who's brand new into it. They need a helping hand to be able to build some of that cost in the equipment we sell. So the person that buys a computer gets some education along with it. So it's not just you buy something from me, put it in a box, and take it home from you. Well, you could do that at any retail store. There's no advantage to getting it from me other than helping out and helping me fulfill this the desire to do so. And I'll tell you, I have to pay. I have to give credit. There are people in this audience. One person in particular, Daubenmeyer Insurance, and I bring them up because literally everything that we have done, they have been a supporter. Whether or not it made mathematical sense or not, they have put money behind everything that we've ever done. And there's so much, it makes my heart swell when I know that there are people out in this audience that have faith and trust and know that, we have, believe in what we're doing and will put money behind us, whether it be advertising or buying equipment from or always doing support. So I want a little shout out there for Daubenmeyer for always being a great supporter of everything that we've done. And that's the kind of, that's what you get with this station, where there's a certain loyalty to the listenership that, when we support the advertisers, then the advertisers support the programming, and then we help people be on the air here on this radio station, rather than programming that's piped in from national sources and syndicated. You get human beings that live in your community, because I'm going to help this community. I'm going to be involved in this community. So if you support the advertisers, then you end up supporting me, and you get more of this kind of stuff. And I'll just tell you that the people that are in this listening audience are so bought in and loyal to this station and to the advertisers. If you're sitting on the fence as to become an advertiser here, I will give you my the biggest recommendation that I can think of to join in. And the advertising is great because the consumers and the buyers and the customers are amazing on talk radio. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. But anyway. So my office over in Struthers, I fully intend to making a showroom place to demonstrate the hardware that we're putting out. So you can walk into a place, and if you've ever been to that office, it's sort of like a little waiting area. We're going to put some demonstration models out so that you can come and play and mess with the stuff we're working on and the stuff we're excited about. And then we can have someone staff there that while you're playing, you could walk out with one of our machines. Like right now, if you wanted to buy from me, you'd go to youngstowncomputer.com, you'd go to the hardware portion, and you'd say buy a computer, and then you'd buy it and pay it, and then we'd have to call you and figure out how to get it to you. So distribution wise, I mean, it's not an easy deal. But it will be eventually when we get this place and we get dedicated staff for it. So that's what you're buying into. You are basically, this community is financing someone who's setting up a company in operations, and we're doing it one computer sale at a time and one innovation at a time. And I'm basically reinvesting every piece of profit back into this community in one way or another, whether it be directly into hardware, into people that put this together, into innovations and resources, or better service facilities to, have you, if you're an interested buyer, to be able to do it in a way that you're most comfortable with. And that's, anyway, that's up to speed on the hardware side. Lots of exciting stuff. Really happy to be able to share that with you. We're going to talk about some more pop culture things that are happening in the marketplace when we come back from this break. If you want to call me, 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570. And Gene, I see you out there. I'll make sure I take your call as soon as we get back from this break. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBM. I'll be back.
Get Nature's Stone and never replace your basement flooring again. Your concrete is uneven, damp, and not healthy. Carpet and tile don't last, breed mold and mildew, and give worthless warranties. Nature's Stone permanently corrects uneven concrete and is not affected by dampness or moisture. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of January. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
Here's some of the stories we're following today. Youngstown police carried out 2 drug raids that happened this past Thursday. A 71-year-old Boardman man is dead after being hit by a car last night. It happened while he was crossing Glenwood Avenue. A co-defendant in the case of a Youngstown woman's death and dismemberment nearly 3 years ago has been ordered to report to jail. A study out shows more than half the children in Youngstown live in poverty. Youngstown's poverty rate is 57.5%. Youngstown police are investigating a reported break-in that happened this past Wednesday in the 100 block of East Ravenwood Avenue. And the estate of Matthew Burrows has filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city of Niles, the police chief, and officers in the death of the Niles resident. We'll have more on these coming up. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Our next update at 2. From the O'Charley's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charley's. For your home or business, call Mazza's Heating and AC in Girard, 330-545-6063. Your factory authorized Bryant dealer. Now, the Storm Team 27 forecast.
Look for rain showers to continue to mix with snow showers this afternoon. Little to no snow accumulation expected. Highs falling through the 30s. Tonight, chance of a snow shower, little snow accumulation expected, lows in the upper 20s. With your Storm Team 27 forecast, I'm meteorologist Paul Wetzel.
Message and data rates may apply.
Do you want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses right here in Youngstown? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll be introduced to our 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Stan Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Youngstown area who want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Youngstown is a perfect market for my system, and next week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where we'll share how to get started making money flipping houses and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and you'll also reserve a free copy of Than's Money for Deals Guide. Just text your zip code to 82,000.
So how is the retirement bucket list going? Copeland Oaks can help you find time to start checking off those exciting things on your bucket list. This is Dan Rivers. Choose a lovely, spacious ranch home or apartment and leave the mowing and the painting and the fixing up to Copeland Oaks. The campus offers golf, fishing, hiking, swimming, an active, fun-filled lifestyle. Copeland Oaks Retirement Community, located in nearby Sebring, just off 62. Find them on the web at copelandoaks.com or visit the campus to see for yourself. Copeland Oaks Retirement Community, beyond expectations and within reach.
Message and data rates may apply.
Earning your degree from one of the top business schools in the country might sound impossible to fit into your workload. But what if there were a business degree that advanced your career skills and gave you access to world-renowned faculty, leaders, and mentors all on your schedule? One that opened doors to some of the most influential CEOs, tech companies, law firms, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders. And what if you could earn that degree in as little as 16 months, 100% online? Find out more. Text TEST to 79645. Start on the path to earning your MBA or Business Analytics Master's degree online from the W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University today. Learn more about the graduate programs from the top-ranked W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University, offered 100% online. Text TEST to 79645. That's TEST to 79645.
How can you extend your life by 6 years? Well, getting the right form of vitamin C may help. Listen Sunday morning at 8:30 to world-renowned Dr. Michael Pincus. Valuable information Sunday morning, 8:30, 570 WKBN.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. I'm Joe Danier, owner of Youngstown Computer and host of the Youngstown Computer Show, here to do the Saturday show, talk about things that are happening in technology. Thanks for sitting through that first introduction of how these ideas came to be and how they're culminating and what they're going to become. Appreciate it. 330-729-9977. Let's go to Gene. Gene, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
Happy New Year there.
You too.
Mr. Danier, how are you?
Real good.
Oh, I want to give a testimonial to your company. I bought a computer from you last year. My wife and I did. And you have, for the people out there that are listening, this man talks the walk and walks the walk. He does know what he's talking, and he does stand behind his people. I've had him out here several times for some problems that we've had, and there's never been a problem. So I just wanted you to know that we're behind you, and we appreciate the fact that you do what you say you're going to do.
Awesome. Thank you, Gene. I appreciate you sharing that.
You didn't ask me to call you. This is an unsolicited testimonial, as they say.
Well, that's awesome of you. I really do appreciate it.
God bless you. Have a great day.
All right,
Bye-bye.
you too. Thank you so much. And you know, Gene is a good example because it's what we attempt to do. Like I said, is we put together a superior product. We take what's on the market, what you guys have access to right now, and do better than that. And then we try to add as much of our value. We know what we're good at, and we know what we're not great at. And like right now, if you had a residential service call, and you needed us to help, and you are used to picking up the phone and calling a place and talking to a human being, you're pretty much not going to get that with us. We don't have staff that sits around waiting by the phone. All of our field staff are out super busy doing stuff in the field. So what you do is you jump on our website and you schedule your own appointment. And then when you get scheduled, it gets loaded onto someone's calendar and they just kind of show up. So if you have a comfort in the automation system where you order food on Grubhub and it just shows up, then this kind of works the same way. Now, if there's a problem and your computer's down and you can't schedule a service call, then obviously you call and leave a message, and then we have something for that. But you're not going to get the best version of us if you follow that pathway, because we're not building human beings that sit around and wait for phone calls. And we just don't have the staff to be able to do that at this point. But again, we're pursuing that. The way that you get staff that's around is you build more things for them to do so that phones aren't the only thing they're doing. They just happen to be, since they're in the office doing showroom duties, that they could also be processing phone calls. We just don't have that right now. So we're just asking the public. We're not going to be great for everyone. Anybody who can tolerate a company that doesn't manually pick up the phone. You can process your own schedulings over youngstowncomputer.com. You can leave messages, and then the brief time in the morning where we do return phone calls, we'll call you back. If you can't deal with that, I realize that we're missing a part of the market, and there's going to be some people that are frustrated because we used to do that. We used to have a person in the office that would be there. If you showed up, we were there. If you called, we were there. You sent an email, we were there. We had availability like crazy. We just couldn't do it because that drained all of the margin out of being able to do it. So we had to destroy that. We had to level that and rebuild it in a way that we could do it. We could afford to do it, and the service was great. So my big thing is that we have customers that have been dealing with us for years. They got used to that, and we up and pulled the rug out from underneath them. And I have, my conscience still reflects that that we should come through for those people. Where I can't do it at a loss, I still want to be able to field it out. So we, if you remember back a couple months ago, I just basically went here on the radio and I said I'd like to partner with someone to field that. I'll teach you the model of how to do it. I don't have the staff to do it, but if somebody's entrepreneurial minded, I'd be willing to show you the model that works, because we're sort of like customer first type of company, and then us second. And so whereas we have to create something that mathematically works, we ultimately have to make sure that the customer is served well. And so if you're entrepreneurial minded and you want to learn that. So anyway, I said that on the air, and I got lots of phone calls about people who wanted to partner with me, where they've either done tech work before and they didn't have a handle on the marketing end of it. Some of the people were working for other companies and they wanted to moonlight a little bit. Some of them that just wanted to outright buy the residential services off of me. And none of them were really a great fit. I could see having some complications, but there's one of them that called that I spoke to really recently that I'm going to sit down with and see if we can do some cooperative, because they're not only great on the commercial side, but they're also on the residential side. But that will help me. The trade-off is going to be they're going to help me service the forgottens, the people who I love on the residential side, but I just cannot afford to service at this point. We're going to see if we can get something working. So watch to see the residential services come back to life in conjunction with all of these builds that we're doing. So that's a 40-minute dissertation on how our companies come along. But again, I'm knee deep into the finances behind it, and knee deep into the writing a new mission statement. And so this stuff is all fresh on my head, and I couldn't wait to share it with all of you, because this is all super, super, super good stuff. Read an article about, Youngstown is the bottom quadrant, the bottom 10% of Ohio as far as poverty and lack of opportunity and all of this dread that I read going the weekend. I just don't see it. I just see so many things that could be happening. It's just the communicating all of the things that could be out to the public, where if we can get a computer manufacturer that hires thousands of people, and we can have 3D printing companies, and we can have electric vehicle companies and all of this other stuff that could happen here, just getting you guys to believe in it long enough that the people that are working super hard to get it to happen, keeping you guys inspired and keeping you on board, we can make that come to fruition, because this is a great marketplace to have that happen. I don't want to read that 5 years from now that we're still hanging on the poverty list as being the most impoverished place in Ohio. That sucks. I want to take all the people right now that are on that path and give them other options. Have them believe into something different. I think we could do it. It's just a matter of I don't want to throw people away and just say that they're too far gone to be able to rescue. Where these aren't charity cases; these are human beings with genius in their brains, and it's just a matter of it's a matter of a circumstance where somebody can get in front of somebody with genius in their brain and help them unlock it. That's really what it is. We have so much bloody potential in this area. It's just a matter of don't give up on the humanity. Don't give up on people, and start working with people that maybe are strange. We're not authentically going to be in the same places together, but put ourselves in these circumstances where maybe we can help somebody out. And again, all it's going to take, you'll watch this light bulb hit somebody's head where you unlock their potential, and they're a whole new person. They're not thinking about me, and how they're going to survive. Now they get to see a future of hope where they can see themselves servicing other people at the same time that their lives are improved. And that's really the focus, the prosperity. Everybody gets a taste of prosperity going into the future. I 100% believe in it, and that's what I'm dedicated to in Youngstown, is bringing as much prosperity and getting you to believe that prosperity and opportunity are everywhere. 330-729-9977. Let's go to Emmanuel next. Emmanuel, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
Well, first of all, Joe, Happy New Year.
To you as well.
You know, I've been talking to you. We've had a running conversation about technology and at what price are we willing to pay for it. Now, this thing that's going on over there in the Congo about the cobalt, the way they're treating kids, is, it's like the blood diamonds were, over in Africa. My question to you, how important and how much of electronics have cobalt in them?
A ton. I mean, that's every battery, every circuit board, they all do, and we're so dependent on that side of that part of the world for these rare earth elements.
Have you checked into how they have these kids digging with their own hands and digging holes and it's caving in on them and they drinking dirty water and they tearing up their environment? I mean, we all have our cell phones, we all have our laptops and stuff, but we're destroying. You're talking about humanity. Have you checked into that? If you haven't, then we'll talk about it after I know you will look into it. But is there any way we can stop this?
Well, I think our best chance is to innovate so that we're not doing these plays like we are right now. I mean, everything has a battery in it, so you choose whether or not we stop using batteries in things, or we figure out a way that doesn't include breaking the environment, breaking people, or poisoning water and stuff like that. So I think you innovate out of it. I think we're too far along down this path to bail on it.
Well, the people said the same thing about the steel mills when they were polluting the waters. Hey, everybody's making money. We too far down. And then when they find something different, what's left? It seems like it's history repeating itself. We haven't learned anything from that.
That is a great point, Emmanuel, and I think about that almost every day. And I just hope that technology and smarts prevails, but I don't see it happening.
I mean, because I'm looking at our area, right? And I hear some people talk about this, the batteries for the electric vehicles and things, and they're just talking about cars. These people around here are so blind. Do you know over in Europe, places in Europe and Asia where people used to pedal around on bikes, things like that. Then they got that little lawnmower motor that shoots out doggone smoke and stuff. Well, Europe and especially France, they're putting electric motors on bikes. So if we could get into that market, that would be, we could have 10,000 people working.
Absolutely. All right, Emmanuel, thank you so much. Appreciate you always calling the phone or calling the shows. Appreciate you. And there's one thing that as a populace, in order for this stuff to happen, I'll tell you that business is sort of like a generic vanilla thing, a soulless thing, right? Businesses don't do right and wrong. Right? The people do right and wrong. So if we were a moral and ethical people and we only dealt with people who were morally and ethical, then the marketplace would take on the form of whatever that is. Okay? So I'll give you an example. Elon Musk released, I want to say 70 of his patents to the public domain. And not legally released it, but released obligation. So that if you need to use a patent that they own, then you can develop a product that is good for the environment or renewable energy or anything like that in good spirit, then you have no financial obligation to the patent holder, which is Tesla. Now, when you hear this, if you support people who do stuff like that by paying Tesla and paying SpaceX and paying whoever's doing this stuff, then you get more of that in the marketplace. It's reactive. So the better we are as a people, right, we get a better reflection back in the marketplace mirror. The worse we are as a people, the worse the reflection we get back in the mirror. So I'm with Emmanuel. This whole we as a consequence of human beings, if you go to a music festival, you see that a bunch of good-spirited, good-willed individuals, we leave a mess behind ourselves because it's the nature of who we are. We don't do it intentionally. We don't say, hey, let's do a music festival so we can have a bunch of garbage and pollution. But it seems that we have this trail where if we don't try not to have pollution, then we have pollution. So every endeavor should start with if you buy my product, it's because that there's not a trail of scum behind me. If you get enough people to be able to buy into that, those companies do better, and the companies that don't do that do worse. And you mentioned the steel mills, you mentioned the battery harvesting that's going off over in China. These are severely dirty jobs, right? That if you didn't have it done in China, then you wouldn't have a product here in the United States. So you're weighing the how well you're doing against environmental concerns and social concerns versus having products that made tons of people more capable in your environment. So I use the music industry, the music festival deal, because it is the same thing, where the intention of getting it done over there makes us better. We have a music festival because of it. The cost is that somebody's got to clean up the mess after the music festival. But I'll tell you, every music festival that you have, you know that cost is built in. And so us as consumers, we have a choice to deal with companies that are a little bit more conscious, or conscious about that they make impacts in the global scheme of things. So could we take a segment here right now and just stop the momentum going forward into these? I don't think so. But can you sort of take a segment of that and making it more intelligent? Absolutely. And I feel like if I put money into something that Elon Musk does, then the consequence is that people like Elon Musk, who will do something that isn't directly advantageous from a financial standpoint. I mean, all he does, if he has 70 patents and he sits on those patents, right? A lot of technology won't happen, right? But he'll make a bunch of money because he kept sitting on his patents, versus letting someone develop on his patents, losing a ton of money, and knowing that the spirit of it was that the world was made better, even though he didn't directly benefit from it. So when I started off the segment with begrudging other people from making money, it's almost like if we somehow withhold it from guys like Elon Musk, then the consequence is then we're just going to commoditize it and make everything transactional. Well, I'm telling you, I've learned over the last couple of years, there's nothing transactional about being a human being. Everything is relationships. Everything is cooperation. And if you can't get in a room of 100 people and figure out a way to get cooperative spirit going between them, then we are lost, and it's going to be basically down to the lowest common denominator. We're going to be competing with each other, and then money wins. And I'm telling you, if money is the focus instead of the byproduct, then I'm telling you, all the rest of us lose, because there's some people that are really good at money and some people are not real good at money. So anyway, 330-729-9977. You can text me at 330-333-1570. And for a technology guy, I am very pro innovation, and I think all the innovations, if we just get momentum behind the right people, they can get us out of all of these problems. And it's wound up so tight that it's going to take some time to be able to unwind it. But if we decide that any manufacturer who buys American-made batteries that are manufactured and mined from responsible places versus the one that costs 50% of that one that's in the United States, that's the choice we're going to make. Get behind the person, pay a little bit more, and finance good decisions on the next era of innovators and next generation of innovators. So 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be back.
I know everybody's got a podcast, but we've got one too. If you miss any of our show, simply search Dan Rivers 570 WKBN.com wherever you get podcasts, and you can hear us again. We'll see you weekday mornings at 8.
The unemployment rate is lower than it's been in decades. That means if you're trying to hire a new employee, they probably already have a job, which means you need to try reaching them in a different way. That's where iHeartMedia comes in. Every week, our radio stations reach 93% of the U.S., most likely when they're on their commute or already at work. So start connecting with the qualified candidates you've been looking for on AM/FM radio. Visit iHeartWorks.com. That's iHeartWorks.com.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose weight guaranteed, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. For location near you, go to markpatrickseminars.com. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick Seminars. No matter how many times you've tried to quit, this hypnosis is guaranteed to destroy your desire to smoke without craving, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Join the over 500,000 others who've attended. That's right, Weight Loss Seminar, Monday, January 20th at the Quality Inn & Suites North Hotel, Youngstown. Time is 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Registration begins at 5 p.m. Stop Smoking Seminar starts at 8 p.m. Registration 7:30 p.m.
So how is the retirement bucket list going? Copeland Oaks can help you find time to start checking off those exciting things on your bucket list. This is Dan Rivers. Choose a lovely, spacious ranch home or apartment and leave the mowing and the painting and the fixing up to Copeland Oaks. The campus offers golf, fishing, hiking, swimming, an active, fun-filled lifestyle. Copeland Oaks Retirement Community, located in nearby Sebring, just off 62. Find them on the web at copelandoaks.com or visit the campus to see for yourself. Copeland Oaks Retirement Community, beyond expectations and within reach.
Would you get on an airplane if you knew it had a 50% chance of crashing? You may be riding that plane right now. If you have your money in a 401k or IRA and you plan to take out the recommended percentage each year when you retire, your chance of running out of money is 50%. 50%. But there's a better and safer way to secure your income in retirement. Discover how in a free book called Rescue Your Retirement. This wealth building strategy has never had a losing year in more than a century. In fact, even the man who invented the 401k now prefers this method instead. Get Rescue Your Retirement free for just a small shipping charge and enjoy a safe landing and a comfortable retirement. Get this free book and make sure you don't run out of money. Hurry, this offer is extremely limited. To get your free copy, just go to growwealthsafely.com. That's growwealthsafely.com to discover how to rescue your retirement. growwealthsafely.com.
The iHeartRadio app is
super easy.
They do the work for me.
Playlist for everything.
You can browse a ton of categories.
Whatever you're doing or feeling.
It helps my mood.
It's sort of like Netflix for my podcast, but it's free, which is way better.
Comedy, sports,
entertainment,
crime, business.
Did I mention it's all free?
I love free.
I got it for radio, but I love podcasts, and I discovered that they have all of them.
I mean, who wouldn't love it?
The iHeartRadio app. Radio, music, podcasts, all free. Free never sounded better. Download the iHeartRadio app today.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show, and still kind of talking about where we go from here. Where if you look at our history and know that we've done some things that could have been better, the messes that we've made, cleaning up. I mean, we can get into this sort of cycle of feeling so badly about where we've come from that it paralyzes from what we're going to do next. So if you were to take anything that I said before and put like an underline under it, here's what I want it to be, is that the next generation of innovators need to be put on the task of what they can do from this point going forward. And let's describe what's happened, but let's not get fixated on where we've become. Where it's important that we made a lot of mistakes, but you can look at any culture, and no matter what, when they get started, they end up messier than when they end up. So let's quickly learn from these things, support the people who are making super good decisions and the ones that line up with the way that we are, and let the innovators fix those problems forward looking instead of back. Because we get into this cycle of complaining so much that all of our topics, we might spend an hour on describing what's wrong and 0 minutes into what we're going to do about it. And that's, because you get then this, everybody's got a great idea how it's going to be solved, but none of the answers have perfection to them. They hurt people in different ways. So I'm all for making a series of decisions that moves away from something without using it as a club, right, to politically injure someone who disagrees with us. Because there's going to be a segment of everything. I don't care if it's an environmental thing, it's a mining thing, it's an economic thing, it's a technology thing. There's going to be some instances where we can all agree on up to a certain point, and I think that's where our innovators need to start, is what we could agree on. Because once we get to there, once we're at a point where at least we've brought it up to as close to neutral as we possibly can, where we're not doing injury, we're not, one side's not winning over the other, then that's another starting point where the next level of innovators is now we get into the dodgy stuff, the stuff that's going to be difficult. Then it's going to take a sophistication of diplomacy and negotiation and cooperation and stuff like that. And that we're no good at. We're polarized now. We don't do do negotiation. We don't try to come to common ground understandings. It's basically a pummel the other guy type of stuff. We're not ready to win one of these arguments yet. We just need to get us back to a neutral state where we're not in crisis. We're not at a disadvantage, because when you're in a crisis, you end up making any kind of decision that will get you out of the crisis, and it's not a proactive deal. So, Emmanuel, thank you for sparking that whole line of conversation. I really appreciate it, because it's something we all need to think of, or else we get 20 years in the future and we're standing exactly where we are right now, where we're making a mess of everything and we're constantly blaming things that are out of our control. Where we could do right now is say, okay, well, what Joe told me on the radio is that we're using China to do a lot of our dirty work because we set environmental standards here that won't allow that stuff to happen. But we still need the stuff to happen, but so we're going over to China and making them do it. So how do you solve that problem? Well, you either say we're not dealing with China and we're going to open up our environmental regulations so that we do more of it here, or we're just going to make technology that replaces it here and there and finding a different way of doing it. But keeping status quo until we can innovate our way out of this. So 330-729-9977. That was a lot of stuff. So I appreciate everybody who listened through that dialogue. I'm enjoying this because these are topics. These are good technological topics. 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570. I'll take this break. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN.
Method and data rates may apply.
Do you want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses right here in Youngstown? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll be introduced to our 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Youngstown area who want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Youngstown is a perfect market for my system, and next week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where we'll share how to get started making money flipping houses and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and you'll also reserve a free copy of Than's Money for Deals Guide. Just text your zip code to 82,000.
On AM and thousands of devices, including Amazon Echo, Google Home, and Sonos. With our iHeartRadio app, 570 WKBN, Youngstown. It's 2 o'clock.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. The fallout from the U.S. strike that killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani could continue for some time. ABC security and defense analyst Mick Mulroy says he was a key figure in many militias across Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon.
He orchestrated a campaign that used advanced weapons to kill American soldiers in Iraq.
And ABC's Ian Panel in Beirut has more on tensions now in the region.
Almost everyone who's anyone inside Iran has now lined up to say that there will be vengeance against America, American interests, and also against Israel. From the Ayatollah on down, people are talking about different types of revenge. People are saying that U.S. troops should leave the region. One, in a rather blood-curdling threat, said that the U.S., if it doesn't withdraw its troops, should order extra coffins.
And there are some demonstrations today in the U.S. outside of the White House. These protesters. President Trump talked about the strike on Friday in South Florida.
The president saying it is good for Americans and the Middle East that the U.S. killed Qasem Soleimani.
He was planning a very major attack, and we got him.
And the president says the attack was only to protect Americans.
We do not seek war. We do not seek nation building. We do not seek regime change.
Mr. Trump also has not initiated any talks to replace or improve the Iranian nuclear deal. Andy Field, ABC News.
There's heightened security in some places in the U.S., like New York, where we find ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
Authorities say this city remains the country's top terror target, and that's why they're stepping up patrols and they're stepping up security at, quote, strategic locations. But security is also ramping up in cities like Los Angeles, Washington, D.C. The Department of Homeland Security says this is a real threat.
2 prisoners are missing from Parchman Penitentiary in Mississippi, where 3 inmates have died in the last week. You're listening to ABC News.
Youngstown police carried out 2 drug raids this past Thursday, one in the 3900 block of Helena Avenue, where 38-year-old Arthur Finley was arrested on charges, including 4 felony drug charges. He was arraigned yesterday at a municipal court and is in the Mahoning County Jail. The second raid happened in the 2500 block of Terrell Avenue, where Raymond Gordon and Marcus Lee were both arrested and charged. They too were arraigned, and they both remain in the Mahoning County Jail. A 71-year-old Boardman man is dead after being hit by a car last night. According to the Ohio State Highway Patrol, it happened just after 8 p.m. They say Donald Warwick Jr. was crossing Glenwood Avenue near Devonshire Drive when he was struck by a car headed south on Glenwood. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. No charges have been filed. A co-defendant in the case of a Youngstown woman's death and dismemberment nearly 3 years ago has been ordered to report to jail. Katrina Layton was a co-defendant in the murder case of 28-year-old Shannon Graves. Prosecutors argued back in December she violated conditions of her bond by talking to her co-defendant and boyfriend, Arturo Novoa. Novoa was sentenced to 48 years to life in the murder case back in July. More than half the children in Youngstown live in poverty. A new report out shows Youngstown ranks number 1 among Ohio cities in child poverty rates. This according to Cleveland.com. The 5-year American Community Survey taken from 2014 through 2018 shows Youngstown has a rate of 57.5%. Warren ranks 3rd with 55.2%, and Camel comes in 10th at 49.9%. Youngstown police are investigating a reported break-in that happened this past Wednesday. A resident in the 100 block of East Ravenwood Avenue reported the theft Thursday. Police say there was no sign of forced entry. The estate of Matthew Burrows has filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city of Niles, the police chief, and officers for their actions in the Niles resident's death. Burrows was shot 8 times in the parking lot of his apartment. The suit claims the police department used and tolerated the use of excessive force that led to the death. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Don't be left out in the cold this winter. Call Mazza Heating in Girard, your factory authorized Bryant dealer.
Look for rain showers to continue to mix with snow showers this afternoon. Little to no snow accumulation expected. Highs falling through the 30s. Tonight, chance of a snow shower, little snow accumulation expected, lows in the upper 20s. With your Storm Team 27 forecast, I'm meteorologist Paul Wetzel.
Message and data rates may apply.
Do you want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses right here in Youngstown? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll be introduced to our 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Youngstown area who want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Youngstown is a perfect market for my system, and next week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where we'll share how to get started making money flipping houses and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and you'll also reserve a free copy of Than's Money for Deals Guide. Just text your zip code to 82,000.
Introducing Long John Silver's $10 C-Shares. Pick up our 6-piece fish, 9-piece chicken, 15-piece shrimp, or 6 crab cakes, each for just $10. Long John Silver's. Fish, yeah. Pricing and participation may vary. Does not include card or grilled. Tax extra.
You want that new or used vehicle, but your credit score isn't exactly what you need? You work hard. You've always paid your bills. Who can you turn to? Hi, this is Tino Merlo from Toyota of Warren. Stop in and see me or my staff. Toyota of Warren's here to help, and we can get you financed.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show, talking about things that are happening in tech. This is your show, so all show long if you want to call in, ask any questions, 330-729-9977, or you can text me at 333-1570. During that break, a texter said, where do I fall in your plan for helping the community and helping us keep the website going? Just curious to know. This is from someone who, before, when we were full staffed, when we had residential services, we had a website hosted for them. And since we don't have an internal developer, we've been outsourcing most of everything that's come through the door. They have stuck and been a customer in spite of not having someone that can actively help them. So to answer your question, Ken, I'm actively seeking someone and sitting down with them next week that can offer and field that stuff. You remember the Youngstown report, which is a website that we did internally that was intended to be an aggregate for news stories in our area. And that was another site that we needed web development, and we just don't have anybody to do those things. So we had to pause that. We had a year's worth of advertisement propping up that site, and then all of a sudden it went dormant because of that. So, Ken, you're another one of those that have been extremely patient with us as we put this together, and I do appreciate it. And that's part of the conscious that when I strive to get myself out of the field, to do hires, to make more staffing available to service kind of these things. You are who I have in mind in doing that, and I feel an obligation to make that up to you. And I appreciate everybody who's been patient and stuck with us, and done that. So I feel you, and I get the tenor of the text message, and I realize that you're being uber patient along this way, and I really do appreciate it more than you'll know. We just talked about you on Friday, actually, when we accommodated that website. We actually purchased a dedicated server to be able to host it on, so that you would have enough bandwidth and stuff like that. And it required buying that server to have about between 10 and 15 other occupants on it. And since then, we have not put any occupants because we weren't going to sell the service that we couldn't support. So you are the lone person on this dedicated server. So again, I appreciate you being out there. And as Gene said, that we do walk the walk here. And what I believe in, the principles that I share, no matter what happens, I will feel an obligation, and I won't be off the hook until I come through on my obligations. I'm old school that way, where it's more about honor than it is about the money behind things. So again, I appreciate all of you, even people other than Gene and Ken, who and Brian out at Daubenmire, who really show above and beyond support for what it is that we do. And just like I spent the beginning of the year reminiscing about where we've come and where we want to go next and what the plans for the next segment are. And I get really excited going to every new year with how we can wield improvements in people's lives. And I do believe that 100%, that people in our neighborhoods are going to feel the effects of this this principle, because I'm not going to stop. I mean, I'm here for another 40 years, and so I might as well spend that 40 years doing what I can to then help companies survive. I mean, this is what I'm doing actively with other businesses, non-technical businesses, that if somebody wants to retire and they want to sell their company and they're struggling with it, the really choice is to just kind of walk away from it and let it die. I don't want that to happen. So I threw out there that, hey, call me before you do that. Let's see if we can keep it going and resurrect it and grow it and whatever. And there are people out there in the audience who've taken me up on that. And in the spring, we're going to help companies stay around so that those jobs just don't disintegrate and go away. It's hard enough to start a business, let alone letting good established businesses go away. So again, there's going to be so much stuff that we can do to help. And again, I'm one dude. So whatever you guys can do out there to throw talent my way so that we can get more staffing and all of these different things. We're going to open 4 new companies. We're going to staff the residential services, probably up to 3 people. We're going to add 3 more field staff for the commercial services. We're going to hire a salesperson on the manufacturing side. We're going to hire a marketing manager, and we've been collecting resumes on that one. So I'm counting, this is small business stuff. So it's 15 really well-paying jobs that we're going to produce out of thin air, not stealing them from another place. We're going to create them by this kind of innovation. It's all because of, the community's investment back in me, and then me feeling an obligation to invest back in the community. And that's a promise. So 330-729-9977. As I promised, we're going to talk about some pop culture stuff, and rather than just us and what we're doing and whatever. So I appreciate everybody who listened through that. There was a report of satellites that were skimming across the upper atmosphere in a long train that people were reporting as UFOs. And so I want to explain that a little bit and why that's happening. A couple months ago, maybe a year ago, SpaceX put up a first test 60 satellites in space. And about 8 months later, they put another 60 satellites up in space. And their goal is to cover the Earth's orbit with these satellites that are capable of doing internet transmission. So the satellites communicate with each other using lasers, and they communicate with the ground using some kind of bandwidth. I'm not sure what the downward protocols are, but anyway, they're putting these satellites, and they've got approval for like 8,000 of these things. So what they do is they deploy them, and they open up, and they scatter, and then slowly they separate, and they basically create a grid work around the planet of these satellites that are hovering around. There's only 120 of them up now, maybe less than that because there's a couple of them that failed out. But people are watching these things as they go through the atmosphere, and you see the sun reflecting off of them. So it looks like in a formation, this line of things are going across the sky. Usually there's like 10 of them. A couple weeks ago, they actually passed over Youngstown. If you looked up in the night sky, you could see these things heading across like the space station does. Happens really quick, goes across really quick, but they're visible. But they're being reported as these UFOs. It's because not everybody is familiar with what's happening in the space space marketplaces. But anyway, that's what they are, and they were reporting a bunch of these things going on. But think of this in the future, that internet isn't going to be dependent on terrestrial ground things pointing upward. It's going to be from skyward downward. And so that it's not a matter of having a utility company run fiber optics or coaxial or, ground infrastructure. This stuff is flying overhead, and that if you need coverage in a remote area, it's not about cutting into a mountainous region or through a rainforest or over an ocean. It's fly above it, where you're in the middle of the ocean on a cruise ship, right? And you can get cellular or internet over a satellite that's out in the upper atmosphere. And so the technology changes a whole lot. There was one doctor, a little bit of a story. There's a doctor that regularly, he was recruited from India as a physician to the United States way back in, I want to say, the 80s. And since then, he makes regular pilgrimages back to India, and he sets up infrastructure for health and education and drilling wells, and takes poorer villages and gives them some infrastructure to be able to, improve themselves. And I can picture sort of these villages that have had a chance to grow up and expand because of the technology that was added. And we would think that that's kind of crude technology, but that's like life-giving technology. Eventually, those villages will need connections to the rest of the world. And in the United States, it's a different game where, we look at rural areas as our toughest places to get to. These other parts of the world have bigger challenges than just population densities, right? They literally can't get stuff to these poorer villages. But if you have infrastructure where you have satellite communications and you have satellite internet, these villages that now are ready to go from just surviving mode to a little bit of expansion mode, and now they can join the rest of the world through technology, where if you put a computer in front of someone in a village where there's not opportunities within 20 miles of wherever you are, that opens up a whole lot of, from an educational standpoint, tapping into other marketplaces, cooperations between things in other countries and different parts of the world. That's a game changer. So if you get these satellites and they end up doing their thing, it can open up different levels of commerce to places who don't easily get commerce to those places. So I think it's a big deal, and I'm going to watch it pretty closely as this SpaceX project of covering the entire planet in like 8,000 some laser communicating satellites. So 330-729-9977. Let's go to Chris. Chris, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
Hey, you might be able to help me. I got a question on range extenders.
Sure.
I got my smart TV, and it's a Roku smart TV. When I go to set it up, it has two little check marks. One's for connection, and the other one is for something else. I don't know how it's worded. And what's happening is, I get all kind of sporadic stuff happening. Sometimes it won't hook up to the internet. Sometimes it doesn't have any connection. They call it wireless connection. And I'm just wondering if a range extender will help me out, because the router's upstairs and the TV's downstairs.
All right, I'm not a real big fan of range extenders anymore. I mean, there was a time when if you didn't have a choice, if you couldn't get a cable to it and an access point close enough to it, that was your only hope. But they have things with mesh wireless. Google has one. Ubi has one. I think there's like 3 brands that are pretty decent, where you set these little modules up as your router, and you plug that directly into your internet. And then you set another module that is far enough away, but it can still communicate with the original one. Now, they have their own dedicated signal between these pods, but then you can connect to these little pods and move them around your house, and they're kind of mobile. They sit on a table. So the reason I don't like range extenders is because they act as sort of like a repeater, where they just amplify a connection through itself, which creates a little bit of latency. So you definitely do not want a TV going through a range extender because of that latency that it adds.
Yeah, the main thing I watch is YouTube, and I didn't think a range extender would help my signal any either, because sometimes I have weak, the internet gets slow.
Right. Well, I would check into the Google Wi-Fi setup. It's probably your most economic version. I think you get a 3-pack for like $200 and some, and then you can basically stagger them on different floors or different areas of the houses. The app will actually tell you if it's got good communication between the other pods, and then you just basically keep moving around until you can get good signal to your television.
So there's not going to be any cheap way out of this problem.
If you run, the cheap way is to run a wire, so boring holes through the floor and getting a cable and an access point closer to the TV. That would be a little bit cheaper. It's going to take more labor hours, but you might be able to get away with a little access point router rather than a mesh wireless access point.
I see. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
It's really frustrating because you fight with the TV. 1 minute it has great signal and it has great internet connection, and then 2 seconds later, bang, it shuts off altogether.
And have you had your ISP test to make sure that the service is okay on the other side? Are you sure that this is like a signal strength problem?
Yeah, the service, upstairs next to the router is fine.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be it. You're either going to have to run a cable and put an access point closer, or get some kind of, pod or mesh wireless to get it closer. One of the two.
But that's what it's called, mesh wireless.
Yeah, and Ubi has one, and also Google has one.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thanks a lot.
No problem. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. And, these things are getting more sophisticated, so they're better quality. I was a little suspicious of the one that was put out by Google, so I set up a couple of them in my house. I actually had wired version of it, so I had one on the first floor, one in the basement, and one on the second floor. And it worked decent. And I trialed it out where I got the Google Wi-Fi just to see, because I was ready to go from wireless G to wireless N, and that meant updating all of my access points. Before I pulled the trigger, I got a couple of these pods, and the downside is the router's extremely limited. So you plug this thing in and it works, and technically we'll send internet out there. But if you do anything like hardcore on it, where you do port forwarding or you have some network that's connected to it, it makes it kind of difficult to get other devices to participate. 9 times out of 10 in households, it's plenty because you don't really do much networking inside. You don't pass documents between things. So if you just do it for internet, it's a really good option because it's plug and play. There's not much configuration that has to go on. You basically pick your SSID, put a password on there, and it's good to go. But if you do something like you have a scanner that scans documents down to a specific computer, it connects wireless and the rest of the computer is wired, there's a chance that it might be on 2 different segments of a network and might not even see each other. So it's you almost have to go completely to the network that the Google Wi-Fi sets up and abandon whatever you have now through either your ISP or whatnot. All right, 330-729-9977. We got a quick little short segment, and then we're going to go off to some sports at 2:30. So you're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. I'll be back.
At
the top and 30 minutes past the hour. We get to the bottom.
Get to the bottom of what happened.
Of today's top stories.
Some very big things.
It's a story that you have to hear.
For top of mind awareness.
So keep me informed. I like to listen.
570 WKBN.
Americans are always on the move. We're in the car, we're at the office, we're working around the house. So how do you connect with all those moving targets? Easy, with radio. Radio reaches 93% of Americans every week. More than Google, Facebook, even television. Because, hey, who has time to sit and watch TV? So when you want to connect with all those constantly moving adults, teens, and millennials, get to iHeartMedia.com and put AM/FM radio to work for your company.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose weight guaranteed, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. For location near you, go to markpatrickseminars.com. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick Seminars. No matter how many times you've tried to quit, this hypnosis is guaranteed to destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Join the over 500,000 others who've attended. That's right, weight loss seminar Monday, January 20th at the Quality Inn & Suites North Hotel, Youngstown. Time is 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Registration begins at 5 p.m. Stop Smoking seminar starts at 8 p.m. Registration 7:30 p.m.
Get Nature Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Your concrete is cracked, uneven, and not safe. Paints and poly coatings don't last, are slippery, and give worthless warranties. Nature Stone permanently corrects cracked, uneven concrete, eliminates slipping hazards, and is easy to clean. And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, there are no hidden maintenance costs. Act now and save up to 50% with our volume discount pricing. Must be installed by the end of January. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
Hi, folks. Are you suffering from arthritis or back pain, knee pain, bursitis, fibromyalgia? The list goes on. If you want to learn how this pain can be targeted, join us Sunday morning for Discoveries in Health. Sunday, 7 a.m., 570 WKBN.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. We're only a week or so away from the end of life on Windows 7. Yeah, that would be the 14th, so 10 days away from when you probably have already started to see the little notification that comes up that says that Windows 7 is about to die, and you got to do something about it. Well, we have been working nonstop for the last 5 months to get computers replaced and computers upgraded. It's forced a lot of things to happen, probably a little ahead of schedule. Computers typically last 6 years in the field. This has shortened that they're on the 5-year end of that, and now you got to put some money into it. So let's just replace it. So that has helped sell a ton of computers on our end. But still, what's going to happen if you wait is that you're going to be operating on an operating system that is no longer supported. And so the way that this plays out is that they're going to basically your Windows updates and regularly releases patches for things that they find security vulnerabilities. When they stop doing that, that product becomes a pretty good target for people to figure out vulnerabilities because they know a whole segment of the population is going to be still continuing to operate, and they know Windows isn't really going to defend them. So for a period of time, you should really notice nothing. It'll be patched up, to a certain point. But as the months go by, you're going to be more and more open to problems. And the biggest part of the problems, by my best guess, is that viruses and these infections will be way more capable because once they snapshot what the operating system is, it's not ever going to change. So they could just manipulate. So Microsoft really wants to get you off of a Windows 7 machine. And in most cases, you can upgrade from Windows 7 to Windows 10 for free, right? So if you have a machine that's 2 years old, all you really need to do is call us, and we can come there and run the operating system upgrade tool and upgrade to Windows 7. You can actually go to our website and pick that out, and then we'll show up and do an in-place upgrade. If the machine's not new, if it's not 5 years old, I really wouldn't upgrade it because I'd get in the state of mind that it's probably going to need upgraded because you're going to spend some money on having it upgraded, and a year and a half from now, you're going to be doing it a second time. So we'll do it either way. You're the boss. So if you want to get a 6-year-old computer upgraded, we'll be more than happy, to do that for you. But the upgrade is free, and they've extended and they've made it available for people on Windows 7 to just get them off of there. What you're also going to notice is there's some legacy supports if you already have Windows 10 that are going to start dropping, where we've seen it a couple months ago with some printer supports where some protocols that older printers were using are being dropped off of new version of Windows. So sometimes what will happen is you'll have to go back out to your manufacturer's website and download new software that works with Windows 10 because they've done a lot of changes. And what makes the stuff more robust is that they're not making it backwards compatible with older stuff. And so every operating system had to accommodate the operating system before it and the operating system before it and the operating system before it. And so they decided that, hey, we're going to do Windows 10, and then we're going to drop all support for every operating system that's not Windows 10. So our engineers aren't running the nightmare of having to accommodate, a bunch of legacy support for things that aren't even around anymore. And that's the big deal. So they want you off of there so they can get it a single product. And in the short term, if you do that upgrade, there's a chance that you're going to have to download some additional software updates to get some of your hardware or accessories or peripherals to be able to work. So that's really the only downside. But I would definitely suggest it by the end of this month, either do it yourself or call us into it. Go to youngstowncomputer.com, go to our appointment scheduler and pick out that you would either like a Windows 10 upgrade and or if you just want a replacement, pick out the computer replacement on there. You could just do it all through our website now, and then we'll get it scheduled. Again, this is just for people who know they want us to be able to do it. If you're interested in doing it yourself, you can if you get your hands on the upgrade tool, you can run that upgrade for yourself. Just make sure you back things up before you do that, and then you can run that update and have Windows 10 on the other side of it, and there's not going to be a licensor. Now, you got to understand that you don't really have a physical license after you do that upgrade. So the next time around, you're not going to be able to reuse that license because you've upgraded and you don't really own that second license. So 330-729, or actually, let me give you the office number, and you can call that number, 330-259-7278. That's the office number. If you can't get to a website and do it yourself, you can call that number and they'll call you back on Monday. Otherwise, go to youngstowncomputer.com and either go to buy a computer to purchase the computer outright or go to schedule an appointment and pick out the Windows 10 upgrade and then get yourself scheduled. You can even pick out the time and date and slots and stuff like that. I made it super easy on that side. And we really appreciate you guys filling into that system. I know it's not always the most convenient way of not being able to talk to a person, but we have heard so many stories and been in so many situations. There are very few unique situations out there. So a lot of times the story that comes along with the service isn't really necessary. I know it feels like you're in a unique situation, but we've seen it all and done it all. So it's just fair to go and get yourself scheduled. And we're an honest and reputable company. If we end up not needing the scheduling or find out that the service isn't free, we could just refund whatever you purchase back to you. It's no big problem, no big loss. So again, youngstowncomputer.com is the youngstowncomputer.com is the website. You can do it all from there. All right, we're going to have a couple weeks off before we come back, so I don't exactly know what date, but a couple weeks we'll be back to do more of the Youngstown Computer Show. Have a great rest of your new year. This is the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN.